Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on what has been a busy Friday so far for Arsenal. Lots of transfer discussion to talk about. There's been a sign-in made at Arsenal already this sunny Friday, and there could be another one to come in the very near future. Perhaps not today, but certainly in the near future. So lots to talk about today. We'll also end with a little bit of a look to tomorrow's game at Southampton, latest team news, and go through my predicted 11, which I'm pretty sure is going to be very, very wrong, because trying to name a predicted 11 for an FA Cup game is almost impossible. But we'll get to that at the end of today's video. Let's start with the transfer business, shall we? And Arsenal have announced a signing out of the blue. I can't remember a signing that has been so kept under wraps. I mean, it's happened very, very quickly, but to be announced like that without any real speculation or news or anything like that is certainly taken me back for a fair while, trying to cast my mind. Maybe Eduardo, I think that one came quite out of the blue, but apart from that, anyway, Arsenal signed Matt Ryan, goalkeeper from Brighton, coming in, 28-year-old goalkeeper, coming in on loan until the end of the season. Something they absolutely had to do. It was, I've said it before, I thought it was probably the most essential piece of business they could do this window, was signing an experienced backup for Bernd Leno, because what we've seen from Alex Runarrson so far does not suggest he is anywhere near the level to be an Arsenal goalkeeper. And if anything had have happened to Leno between now and the end of the season, and Runarrson had to be in goal for say 2 or 3 months, I think it would have been an absolute disaster. So Arsenal really needed to do something about that. They needed to admit they made a mistake in the summer with Runarrson, that he wasn't anywhere near ready, and going out and get someone. And they brought in a very experienced goalkeeper, international. He's got 59 caps for Australia. He's played 124 appearances for Brighton since he's joined them. Very experienced Premier League goalkeeper, still only 28, and he has arrived to support Bernd Leno and basically be number 2 between now and the end of the season. So a really good piece of business, I think, for Arsenal there. They needed to do it. They went out and done it. And they're going to sign an Arsenal fan as well, Matt Ryan, an Arsenal fan. He's spoken a little bit about the move, but before I get to that, I'll just say what Mikel Arteta has had to say. He said, "We know Matt very well through his performances with Brighton in recent seasons, and he brings additional quality to our squad. Matt has a very good Premier League experience and has played over 100 times in the league, which is something that will benefit us greatly on and off the pitch. We welcome Matt to Arsenal and look forward to working with him this season." Now, I do understand that he was signed in time to be able to feature tomorrow in the FA Cup. So he should be part of the travelling squad. Whether he starts or not, that remains to be seen. But he was signed in time to be available to be part of that travelling squad that goes down to St Mary's for the FA Cup 4th round tie. So good news for Arsenal and good news for Matt Ryan. He's clearly absolutely delighted. Like I said, he was an Arsenal fan growing up. He's spoken a little bit about it here to the website. You can get the full interview on arsenal.com. He said about his move, "There's still an aura of surrealness to it all, to be honest. I'm really proud, it's great, and it's hard to sort of put into words the emotions and feeling that is of this becoming a reality. All those mornings as a young kid in Australia, getting up to watch the Champions League and all that at 4 a.m. in the morning when I had school, the support back in the Thierry Henry and Dennis Bergkamp days, to now be here fills me with a great sense of pride and achievement. I'm just looking to do the best I can for the club and represent the club in the best possible way, and ultimately help the club to achieve more success." A lovely moment for Matt Ryan. I think as Arsenal fans, we all dream one day playing for the football club. So for him to achieve it, you can tell there in his words how proud he is and what it feels, what it means to him. And I do think that I applaud Arsenal for this. It was a piece of business they had to go out and do. They've done it. And I think they've certainly strengthened the squad for the second half of the season now by bringing in Matt Ryan. And I imagine this will mean that Runarrson goes out on loan, which he very much needs. I think he'll probably go not to a Premier League club. I imagine if he stays in England, he'll go to a Championship or he'll go elsewhere. But hasn't really worked out for him in the games we've seen him play. He's not shown anything to suggest that he's good enough to play for Arsenal. And he needs to go out and play minutes. He's still young. He needs to go out and play minutes, get his confidence up and see what he can do. But for now, Arsenal certainly a stronger squad. It doesn't look like Matt Ryan qualifies as a homegrown player. So he's going to take up the one space really that there is now, because there's been one, obviously with Socrates and Ozil go in, that hasn't made a difference with Arsenal's 25-man squad for the Premier League because they weren't registered anyway. Kolasinac go in means there is one space. So for now, Matt Ryan takes up that space, which means there's no other spaces for non-homegrown players. So if Martin Odegaard, who we'll get to in a minute, comes in, then someone's going to have to be left out again. But as I said, I think Runarrson will probably go on loan now, and that will free up a space as well. So Matt Ryan could potentially take Runnarsson's space in the squad, and that will still leave one place available, and then Odegaard should probably take that. So I imagine that is what's going to happen over in the coming weeks in terms of the non-homegrown rules. It will just be a case of Runarrson going out and Ryan coming in to replace him in the squad. So that's the big news of the day. Arsenal make a signing. Now we'll move on to the second part when it comes to transfers for Arsenal news today. Martin Odegaard, now a player I've spoken about in the last couple of days. Been lots of links with him, and I can now confirm that Arsenal are very hopeful of bringing Odegaard in on loan from Real Madrid for the end of the season. They've been talking with Madrid for the last couple of days, and sources at Arsenal have confirmed to me that they are now pretty confident that they will get this one done. There's still work to be done. There's been strong reports in Spain that it isn't absolutely a done deal. People at Arsenal saying to me that that is not the case yet, but they are confident that they will be able to sign Martin Odegaard. But there is still things that need to be done between Arsenal and Madrid to get this one over the line. But as I said, it's looking hopeful, and I imagine I'd be fairly confident from what I've heard so far today that it won't be too long before we see Martin Odegaard paraded in an Arsenal shirt, which will be very, very exciting. He's obviously a very talented young player, can play as number 10, can play on the right side of attack, so he brings a bit of adaptability to the squad and variety to the squad that Mikel can, if he wants to rest Smith Rowe, he can rest Smith Rowe. If he wants to rest Saka, he can do that. And Odegaard can play. What it says for Willian and Pepe, I'm not too sure. It doesn't bode too well for them, because I don't think Odegaard is going to be coming here to really sit on the bench. He wants to get enough minutes between now and the end of the season to make this loan move workable. And I think it says a lot about how Mikel is beginning to view Pepe and Willian, that he's turned into a 22-year-old on loan to potentially be the sort of backup or the competition for Smith Rowe and Saka and their places in the team. But it's an exciting signing. I think I've said it before on these videos that it's one that I like the look of. In terms of bringing someone in, I wasn't too keen on a whole move for Isco, as I've said before, but Odegaard, I just think he's young, he really wants to play, he's hungry, and I think he can come in and make an impact. Well, we hope he can. It doesn't look like, and I haven't had this confirmed yet, but certainly from what they're reporting in Spain, it doesn't look like there's going to be any purchase clause included in this one, so it might just be a straight loan until the end of the season, which a few Arsenal fans will be a little bit concerned about. So what's the point in bringing him in just for 2-3 months and then him sodding off back to Madrid? But needs must, I think. You've got to look, Arsenal have made how many redundancies in recent times. They've just had to make a big borrowing from the Bank of England just to get them through, so they don't have too much money to play with, and so if they can get someone in now who helps them in the short term, then that's what they'll look to do, and it certainly seems like that's what they've looked to do with this one. And you can understand from Real Madrid's point of view as well that although Zinedine Zidane doesn't appear to be the biggest fan of Martin Odegaard, Zidane's under an awful lot of pressure at the Bernabeu, and managers don't tend to last too long when they're under pressure there. So there could be a new man at the helm fairly soon at the Bernabeu, if not in the next few weeks, certainly in the summer, and then they'll want to have a look at Odegaard, and they could fancy him a lot more than Zidane does, and so you can understand why Real don't really want to commit to selling one of their best up and coming young players when potentially they might have a new manager in place fairly soon who wants him to play for the club. And let's face it, Real Madrid are in real financial difficulties as well. They can't really afford to bring in too many players at the moment, so they don't want to be shipping out too many players in their squad, especially young 22-year-olds who have shown last season, particularly when he was at Real Sociedad, that he's a really, really talented player and can do it in La Liga. So I can understand from their point of view how this deal is looking like it's taking shape, and I can certainly understand from Arsenal's point of view as well that they think it's something that can help them in the short term and potentially help them achieve what they want to achieve this season, which ultimately is getting in and around the top four and qualifying for Europe next season. So that's one to keep an eye on in the next couple of days. I'm not expecting Arsenal to have to wait too long for this one to be done. They want to get it done quickly talks ongoing, and very, very confident, or certainly confident, that they are nearing a conclusion with those talks for Madrid to bring Martin Odegaard into the club. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know in the comments below. Is it a good signing? Are you excited by it? Do you think they should be looking elsewhere? Well, what does it mean for Pepe and Willian? Let me all know. I always enjoy reading through the comments and seeing what you guys have to say on it. So let's look ahead a little bit to that game against Southampton tomorrow. This is going to be a tricky one, I think, in terms of certainly naming my predicted 11. The team news for it is pretty positive for Arsenal. There's a couple of injuries, which I spoke about yesterday. We're still not sure if Dani Ceballos is going to make it yet. He's got a calf injury. He's going to be assessed, and a bit of a late call made before the travelling squad leaves for Southampton today. There's going to be no Pablo Mari like Ceballos. He has a calf injury, but he's a little bit further back in terms of his recovery from that, and is due to return to full training next week. So those two, one definitely out, one we're not quite so sure yet. Aubameyang's fine. He had his little stomach complaint, which was basically just the fact he needed a toilet break towards the end of the Newcastle game, but there's no issue with him or anything like that. He'll be fine if selected, which is a whole other story, because Arsenal go to Southampton again on Tuesday night. Mikel is going to have to balance how he does this. Do you want to risk the Premier League game to make sure you stay in the FA Cup? I think we're going to see a sort of split. We're going to see half a Europa League team, half a Premier League team for Arsenal tomorrow. And certainly the stronger of the two 11s will be on St Mary's on Tuesday night in the Premier League. Mikel kind of saying as well in his press conference ahead of the game that he is going to still choose a strong squad, but he's going to have some sort of rotation, which I think we can all understand. I think the big one is who goes in goal. Now, do you go with Leno, who I think would have definitely played, but now Ryan's come in and he was signed in time to feature. Does he go straight into the starting 11? He hasn't played much football. We've kind of been bombed out by Brighton since Christmas. For what reasons, we don't really know, but he's been totally left out of the squad. So he hasn't played much football recently. He obviously has been training, but do you throw him straight back in when he's not had much game time? I wouldn't be surprised if Leno still gets the nod just because of that, but we'll have to wait and see. And then you've got the sort of decisions to make up front in terms of, do you go with Nketiah, or do you stick one of the two big strikers up front in Aubameyang and Lacazette, or give them 60 minutes and then take them off and give them a bit of rest before Tuesday night? I'm steering towards Nketiah. I think he might get a bit of a run out in this one, and both of the main strikers are left on the bench to potentially come on if needed. So I'm going to run through my predicted 11 now for the game. I'm going to go with Leno in goal just because of their timings. I would not be surprised if it's Ryan, but I'm just going to go because he's not played too much recently, hasn't really got used to his teammates yet, that Mikel will probably go with Leno, but like I said, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm going to go with Cedric at right back, but again, it might be better. And I thought Cedric played very, very well against Newcastle, well enough to potentially keep his place in the Premier League. So, Bellerin could easily play at right back, but I still think, although Cedric played well against Newcastle, that Bellerin is Mikel's first choice, and he'll be back for the Tuesday night game. So I'm going to go Ryan, Cedric, Callum Chambers, Gabriel, and Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Now, there is a bit of a question mark about Ainsley. Obviously, he was left out completely in the game against Newcastle. Mikel had a bit of a dig at him afterwards, seemingly saying, look, show me you want it more if you want to get back in the side. So it'll be interesting to see if he does make the squad. I'm going that he will, but again, this is just a predicted 11. This isn't anything I've heard for information-wise about the team. I'm just trying to go for it. So my back four is Cedric, Chambers, Gabriel, and Maitland-Niles. I'm going to go with Ceballos and El Neni as the midfield pairing. And then up front, I'm going to go Pepe on the right. I'm going to go Willian as the number 10. Gabriel Martinelli as on the left, and Eddie Nketiah up front. Like I said, with some of the big boys left on the bench, your Aubameyangs, your Lacazette, your Parties, those sort of players left on the bench ahead of the game against Tuesday night. Really looking forward to seeing Martinelli play. I imagine he will certainly start on the left hand side. It's going to be good to see him back in action again. Big day for Willian and Pepe tomorrow. They are going to have to take one of these opportunities soon to impress, because they are falling rapidly behind Saka and Smith Rowe in the Premier League pecking order now. And like I said earlier, with Odegaard seemingly set to arrive, that's another player who potentially will be ahead of both of those two in the pecking order. That they need to perform, and they need to perform quickly. Pepe, we've only seen it in flashes so far this season. Willian, we've not seen it at all. And yeah, they are finding themselves under real pressure when it comes to game times in the Premier League now. So they have to take one of these opportunities in the Cup. I imagine they'll both play tomorrow. And yeah, one of them or both of them needs to step up and really show that they are worthy of a spot in the Premier League side or its Premier League squad even, because soon that's going to become under pressure with their lack of performances. So big day for Pepe, big day for Willian, as Arsenal hopefully progress through to the fourth round to set up a fifth round tie against Wolves or Chorley. So, Wolves you would expect in the next round. Well, that's it from me today for today's video. Thank you for watching. As always, I will be at St Mary's tomorrow, bright and early. It's it's an early afternoon kickoff for once. Arsenal not having an evening match, thank the Lord. So I will be at St Mary's. Expect it to be very, very cold as usual. So you'll see me wrapped up once again, and I will try and do my usual pre-match live broadcast on here, so keep an eye out for that, and also the player ratings at the end of the game. Thank you for watching, everyone. Please do enjoy the rest of your Friday, and I'll speak to you very, very soon.